You are listening to an interview with clinical hypnotherapist Dr. Steve G. Jones. For a free hypnosis download, please visit stevegjones.com.
My first guest is Dr. Steve G. Jones. Dr. Steve G. Jones is one of our regular contributors, and he is the guy that celebrities and some of the celebrity business people go to when they need help dealing with stuff that they're having problems with. Dr. Steve G. Jones has been a hypnotist, a certified hypnotherapist since the 1980s. And as I mentioned earlier, one of our regular contributors, Dr. Steve G. Jones, welcome back to Money for Lunch.
Well, thanks, Bert. Good to be here.
Well, good to have you here. I know that you're out and about. You're in New York?
I'm all around. I'm like a globetrotter.
Where in the world is Dr. Steve?
There you go. It's a new board game for kids. How have you been?
There you go. It's the new game.
That's right.
Man, I'm excited. We're getting ready to crush the holidays and just get some downtime. So we're all very excited here.
Nice.
And I'm excited because I wanted to talk to you specifically about this thing that I just read off there in the intro about the things that we control and things that we cannot control. So you up to play that game?
I am. Let's do that one. Is that a board game too?
It's a board game too.
All right.
It's what do you call it? It's a game that unfortunately a lot of us play all the time.
Yep, I'm afraid so. You know, I heard a saying one time that I thought was very helpful. They said if you're sensitive, you can either pad everything in the world or you can wear slippers.
All right. If you're sensitive, you can pad everything in the world or wear slippers.
Yeah, and the meaning is, you know, if you feel like, in this case, if your feet are sensitive, you have to walk around and have everything soft for you. And so you can go around the world making everything soft. You can fix this, fix that, make that something that you like. Or you can work on yourself, and that's going to give you something very powerful because now in any situation, you're prepared to deal with it.
I think that, I like that. First of all, you know, we as humans, sometimes we get into this thing where we try to control too much or we become the victim of things we cannot control. And in either of those scenarios, it's not healthy. But I wanted to talk to you about how do you go about changing your mindset from a victor mentality, from a victim mentality to one of the victor mentality. You know, you work with a lot of people. You have a really intimate knowledge of how the brain works and how people think, and you must see this victim mentality quite a bit.
Oh, absolutely. You know, just like I was talking about with the slippers, you know, you can go around saying, "Oh, they did this to me, they did that to me, you know, woe is me." That's productive up to a point, but really the only thing it produces is just, you know, you're getting some attention and people feeling sorry for you and things like that. When you really take control of your life, then you accept a lot of things the way they are, a lot of people the way they are. You let go of attempting to change everyone and change the entire world. And you realize that, you know, as silly as it sounds and as cliche as it sounds, change comes from within. And once you change, then everything around you seems to change. It's not changing. It's just your perception that's changing.
Yes, absolutely. And that's really the most important thing that needs to be changed is that perception, that inner thinking. We've seen people who come from very tragic, very poor circumstances. They overcome it all and they become, quote, successful, right?
Yep.
And we've seen people who have been given everything in life. Their parents are connected. They went to the best schools. They have every opportunity, and they can't manage their way out of the paper bag. And I want your opinion on this. The only difference is that that mental perception, that the way they see things.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a great book, and you've probably read it, The Millionaire Next Door. I think it was written in 1996, so a little outdated now, but it's still got some so that a lot of the numbers are off. You know, the price they say a standard mortgage would be and yearly salaries and things like that. The numbers are pretty far off because they haven't been adjusted for inflation. But the gist is still there. And there's a whole chapter on outpatient therapy that parents give to their kids. And they don't arm them for making money in the world because they had it so rough. So we have a parent who in one generation became wealthy through becoming a doctor, lawyer, business person, what have you. They don't want their kids to suffer, so they give their kids everything. And what happens? The kids suffer because they don't learn the skills how to do that themselves. You know, we look at some of the more clever families, clever in a good way, and we see them passing on those skills. You know, like Warren Buffett had decided not to give his kids or grandkids a whole lot, and that teaches them the idea that, hey, you've got to go find your passion, develop it, and do your thing, and that's how you'll make your money.
You are listening to an interview with clinical hypnotherapist Dr. Steve G. Jones. For a free hypnosis download, please visit stevegjones.com.
I had the pleasure of spending a couple of days with Evander Holyfield, and I asked him that question. I said, Evander, one of the reasons that I think you're successful is because you had a struggle for everything. You didn't come from a privileged background with lots of money. He was, maybe slightly above poverty. He had for him to go to the boxing ring to train, or the boxing gym to train, was an hour one way by bus, that kind of stuff. And I asked him, what, now that you're wealthy, you're connected, your kids have your name, do you think that's going to help them or hurt them? And his answer was really cute. He talked about his mama. He's from the South, and so he talked about, my mama did this and my mama did that. And what I learned from all this is that it's about your mama. It's about the people you have at home that are going to help you or break you, right? So back to what you're talking about, Steve, about the parents. We see this all the time. We've seen, and I love the example you gave. Parents who are today successful are not, and they're successful because they struggled and they achieved certain strengths, but they're not teaching that on to their kids, and they're making their kids weak and selfish and, for lack of better terms, sniveling little cowards.
Yeah, they cripple them. They don't realize that they're setting their kids up for a life of unhappiness. Now, this doesn't always happen, but yeah, that's the idea. And the fascinating thing here is that the parents have the best intentions for the kids. They love their children so much that they don't want them to suffer. Not realizing, and we seem to be getting on to parents here, but any of us can do this to ourselves as well to make it universally useful here. But they do it out of love. What they don't realize is those things are not just giving a kid anything they want. That kind of action is not something that's going to arm them for what my dad used to call the real world. I used to hate when he said that. Get ready for the real world, but it's true. The real world is one where you don't have this constant flow from mommy and daddy, and you've got to stand on your own.
Yes. Well, and here's the deal. You and I get to hang out with some very successful people, some people who are quote unquote celebrities. One of the things that I had the pleasure of doing is I had, about once or twice a year I go hang out with former Governor Schwarzenegger, and he talks about the fact that strength does not come from winning. And at first, when he told me that, I was like, what? And then he goes on to say, he says, your struggles are the things that develop your strengths. When you go through hardships and decide not to surrender, that is where your strength comes from.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense, especially when you apply it in this scenario here where these kids are winning, quote, they're being given everything, but they're not having to struggle, so therefore they have no inner strength. They don't know how to deal with adversity. They don't know how to deal with obstacles. And it's just amazing to me that what do you call it, it's almost an oxymoron. It seems like the fact that you're helping your kids achieve all this stuff would make them somehow better, faster, but it's not. They're missing that developed inner strength.
Absolutely. If victory for them means it's something that comes with the aid of somebody else much stronger, then that's always what it's going to mean. Now I can say that many of the victories in my life have been with the help of other people. It's been a group effort, but it's never been a total reliance upon them. It's always, I have my clearly defined job to do in this situation, and so do you, and so do they, and we're all doing our job the best we can, and we're going to have a victory, which is a lot different from saying, hey, if I just sit down here and fall down and don't do anything, someone's going to take care of it. They're going to do my part and their part, and we're still going to win.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. And on that, we're going to end. I appreciate you stopping by. I know you're on a tight schedule today. And Dr. Steve G. Jones, I want you to have some happy holidays as you travel around. And looking forward to meeting with you soon, my friend.
Well, thank you, Bert. Happy holidays to you, too, and I'll see you soon.
You're listening to an interview with clinical hypnotherapist Dr. Steve G. Jones. For a free hypnosis download, please visit stevegjones.com.